Hello, I'm Cookie Girl and I am going to show you a really simple way to make a sugar paste rose. So what I'm using today is sugar florist paste. Do make sure it's that and not fondant icing, because fondant icing is not firm enough. Here's a piece that I've started working on. This is what it looks like when it's fresh from the packet. So I've just taken off a little piece and I'm just softening it up with my fingers. Okay, so once it's nice and soft, we then form it into a ball. Use quite a lot of pressure for this, and then roll it into a long sausage shape. Okay, so you end up with something like that. What I'm using as my piece of equipment is just a simple document sleeve, okay? So what we need to do with that is we need to open it up. So we just want the seam on this side, and we're just going to cut open the opposite side. Don't worry about how precisely we do this. It doesn't matter if it's not that neat. And then I'm also going to just snip open the other side here as well. Okay, so that leaves us with this. Now what we're going to do is take the cylinder, the sausage shape that we've made, and put that flat. And then what we're going to do is we want the base to be flattened out, but we want the sides and the top to stay curved. So we're going to push down, but the whole time we're moving our fingers around so we're keeping the nice round shape on top, okay? So keeping a nice curve there, but flat underneath. So something like that, okay? Flat across the base. Now, what we're going to do is cut this into 6 pieces, which are going to become our petals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just going to discard that bit for now, okay? So we are going to open up the document sleeve, and then we are just going to put each piece down, allow plenty of room in between them, and then we're going to close the document, and then we are going to just use our thumb to press down, keeping the base of a flat line towards the bottom of the document sleeve. Okay, so we've done one flatten with the thumb, and then we're going to come back and we're going to use our thumb to just thin out the top edge. Now, I'm not doing anything to the base. It's really important that you allow the base to stay thick, okay? That's key for building your rose. So we're going to get each one flattened out. Now, the more confident you get with doing this, the thinner you can go with the petals. When you're first starting out, don't go too thin, because what you'll find is that they'll get stuck. The sugar paste might actually get stuck to the sleeve. Okay. So you put quite a lot of pressure on. But like I say, don't go below halfway with applying the pressure. So I'm just going to come back, just thin it out a little bit more each bit. Actually takes quite a lot of strength to do that. Okay, so I think this is about thin enough for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first piece. I'm going to start with this one because it's quite small. And what we're going to do is peel it off. Now, as we're peeling it off, get a nice curve there, okay? So the first one, we're going to roll to make our rosebud. Okay? Something like that. Just a nice, simple shape. Then we're going to have a look for our next smallest, which I think is probably this one. Now, this has come off quite easily, but I really want to create the curve, so I'm actually holding it down with one finger while I lift it with the other. Now, what we're going to do now is we're keeping the curve is going actually away from the petal, not towards the petal, or you'll end up with a very closed flower. So we then look at where the seam is on the bud, and we hold the centre of the petal so that the seam and the centre of the new petal are lined up. And then we apply pressure, and we're actually applying pressure from the underneath of the rose so that the petal comes slightly open. Okay, and then you can just use your finger to open it a bit more. So that's the first one. If you need to, you can just use a little dab of water if you're worried that it's not sticking too much, okay, or not sticking enough rather. So that's your first petal. We're then going to look for the next smallest petal. I mean, these are all fairly even size, but I'm just going to take this one. We're doing the same thing again. We're creating the curve as we're pulling the petal off, and then we're going to hold it so that it's just half overlapping the petal and the end just covering up the seam there, okay? And again, we are just lining it up so that it looks in the appropriate place, and then just opening the petal slightly. Okay, so that's your second one. We're going to take the third one. Again, it's not sticking, so we're just going to use our thumb to hold it down as we use our finger to curve it round. And then again, it's going to overlap halfway around the petal, like so. Okay, and again, just pulling open the petal slightly. Oh, that's slipping a bit, so I'm just going to add another little dab of water. Be careful not to add too much water, you can end up in a bit of a gooey mess, okay? So, we've got two more. So, the same thing again, pulling the petal, letting the petal curve, and then overlapping here. And then we're going to do the same again with this one. And then you can just have a look at where you feel the last one needs to go. I think it looks right just to go here. Remember, always curving away. Okay. You can just adjust the height if necessary as well. Now it's quite slippery at the moment, so once you've finished, what you need to do is just put it down and leave it to set. And then once it's hard, you can use it to decorate your cupcake or your big cake.